All right. Good morning, everyone. Today, I wanted to talk about being a paperless agent. Not only a paperless agent, but this is such a good tool. Even before COVID started, I found it just lessened our time that we had to spend on the road because you didn't have to go over to your clients, get their signature anymore. It's a really great tool for us to get things done a lot faster, especially when you're back and forth with sign backs and whatnot. So I just wanted to start you guys off with the basics today. I don't know how many of you are actually using Authentisign right now, but we will learn as we go along. So I'm going to share my screen here and just get logged in. Okay. So we'll start from the very basic, right? So first thing you need to know how to do is to go into web forms and Authentisign and create a kit. Hold on, let me just let someone in here. There we go. So the first thing you need to know is how to go into web forms and create a kit. So if you haven't done this yet, you just go to where you log in on the front page, okay? And you go to web forms and Authentisign, okay? So there's a number of different ways where you can approach creating a kit. I'll start with just a blank kit that we're gonna do, okay? So you go to the house. One second, I have someone else coming in the room. Okay, good morning. Good morning, Rana. So you go to the house here, okay? And this is just a complete blank kit that we're gonna start. We're not starting from anything here. So I'm gonna go to the plus sign here. I'm gonna add a kit. And I'm gonna call this one training for today, okay? And I'm gonna go create. Now there's a wizard that's built in here. I'm going to tell you the truth. I hardly ever fill out the wizard information because you'll see when we go into the kit that when you fill out certain fields on one form, it auto fills it on the other forms as well. So you can go here and fill out the street number, the street name, the unit number, the city, the province, the code ahead of time, and it'll autofill your sheets. I find it's a sort of unnecessary step for me because it autofills from sheet to sheet anyways, but it's however you guys would like to organize, right? So this is the first screen and you go next and it gives you a couple of more screens to autofill. So the contract date, the expiry date of the listing. I find a lot of this is irrelevant when I'm just creating an offer or if I'm creating if I'm creating a listing agreement, I could put that information in there, but usually I don't put my contract date until I'm signing with my clients because I want to find out what day they want to load in the system. Well, and also I wanted to go over a quick side note with the listing agreement in a minute. So I just click next until I get to done where I can go and I can add my forms in, okay? So here you see, this is where it shows what you have in your kit. It says empty right now because we haven't thrown anything in there. So let's pretend for a minute we're going for a listing agreement. We need to go in and add our paperwork that we need for that listing agreement. So we're going to go to the plus sign and go add forms. Okay. And you can either do by the numbers or by the names. Okay. So I know that I need a working with a realtor for my clients. So I go 810 working with a realtor. Once I click the circle, you see how it adds it to my basket. There's one added. Okay. So I can go back to the search bar and I can click my next thing I need. I need a FinTrack form, because I need to take their identification. So I need the individual identification information record. Click that. You see it's added 2 to my basket now. Okay. Now I know that I need the listing agreement. Okay. And we're going to pretend it's a freehold. So I'm going to get the MLS data sheet for freehold properties. Okay. Everybody asked me, what's the difference between when it says Brampton, Durham, Oria, or Toronto, or Northumberland? It's really just the logoing on it. Sometimes when you get into the Northumberland ones, they do have some, it used to be different. They'd have more rural stuff like well and septic, but now they've added it to all the MLS data forms, just not as mandatory fields. So we'll just choose this Toronto MLS data form for freehold. Oh, sorry, this is a lease one. Let me just get this. Freehold sale right here. Okay. So now I've added my listing agreement, my identification record, my MLS data sheet, and my working with a realtor. Okay, those 4 are in my basket. 1 second, let me let someone in here. And go back and share my screen. So now I just click add. And it's going to add everything to my kit here that I need. So you see they're all here, the MLS data form, the listing agreement, the individual identification record. Is anyone lost to this point how I got to here and want me to go over it again? Are you guys good moving forward? Okay. So I'm just moving this out of the way. Now I'm going to go into my kit and I'm going to prepare my kit for my client. Okay. So let's start with, for instance, the listing agreement. So we already know that the office is the information we put here, Remax ACE. Don't know why it's missing the ACE there. Okay, Remax ACE, right? We put in the brokerage address. I'm just going to fill out a few fields. I'm not going to fully fill out these forms. It's not the point of the exercise today, but I just want to show you when you fill out these forms, how it autofills on the other ones in your kit, right? Okay, we're going to pretend that the seller is me. I'm selling my property. Okay, and we'll just say it's 123 Main Street in Pickering, say. Okay. When you're in your kit, I always caution before you go back and forth between all of your forms, I always caution everybody to go in and save. I find sometimes if web forms glitches or pops you out, you might have filled out this whole form and then you lose your information. So you just simply go to the folder and you go here and you go to save, just a regular save. It'll save it within the kit. If you save it as a PDF, it's going to ask you for a file location to put it in, right? You don't need that right now. Okay. So the paper here is how you can toggle back in between forms inside your kit. Okay. So we're working within this listing agreement kit right now. So I'm on the listing paperwork. Now I want to go to my MLS data form. So I'm going to click on the paper up there and I'm going to go to my MLS data information sheet. As soon as the computer wants to catch up with me. It's slow this morning like me after a long weekend there. So you can see, because I already filled out some information on the listing agreement, it autofills on the sheet here already. You see it says 123 Main Street, right? And it should have brought the person's information here as well, the owner. There we go. Seller name, Christine Boland, right? If I fill out more information here, it'll translate to other sheets as well. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that once I get this all signed, I can come back into this kit and I can push it to a draft, which I'll show you guys again at a later time when we're talking about loading our listings online. But you definitely want to fill out this form. This is good because you don't have to do it twice then when you go to actually add your listing online. It's a simple push from this form. Okay. So we have our basic kit there. And I can show you guys how to throw this into Authentisign from here. I just want to know if you guys are caught up so far. You guys are all good with creating kits from scratch, right? Actually, before I go to Authentisign, I'm going to show you the other way to create a kit as well. So that's the first way you can create it. You can just start from nothing and add all your forms in and then start editing your information. So right now it's a listing agreement. That's why I purposely use that one as the blank kit. I'm going to pretend that I'm creating an offer now. Okay. So I'm going to go and not 100% from scratch. I'm going to have some information filled out for me. Okay. So I'm just going to X this out. We're going to pick a random listing for today. Okay. Go search and let's just see what's in the system today in EO4, for instance. This is the other way you can create a kit, and it's a beautiful way because it'll automatically fill out a lot of the information for you, which is great because it saves you a lot of time. and you don't have to go toggling back and forth in between the listing and your actual paperwork. So if I just go to Toronto EO4, we'll just pretend we're going to 45 Jevons, for instance. This is the first one I'm clicking on here. Okay. Now you can see that the listing on the top, there's a button here that says Web Forms Authentisign. So what happens is if you push this button, it's going to take you directly into Web Forms and Authentisign, but it's going to create a kit for you, which is already filled out. So you can already see it's got the address and everything and the MLS number here. And once you come to this screen, remember it was all blank and I just hit next, next, next. It's auto-filled everything out for us. The property width, the property depth. The thing I want to caution you guys is, you know how normally the listing agent is entering this information? Don't rely on this to autofill your paperwork. It's great that it autofills most of it. You still want to go to your Geo Warehouse and your MPAC to go and double check legal description, the frontage, because you know some agents will put 35 feet, even though it's 35.24. We still need to do our due diligence to make sure we're filling out the paperwork correctly. So even though it autofills this, just still go to Geo Warehouse and Public Records and do that double check. But most of the information is all filled out here, which is great. So if I even go to the next screen, you can see it has the contract commencement, expiry, right? It has the listing agent, the listing salesperson, the seller's information, right? Next. So I come to this part here where I have the empty kit now, okay? And we're pretending like we're about to place an offer, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the paperwork I need to create this offer. So we all know we need the working with the realtor still, right? And see, it clicks the one in the basket there once I click on it. And then we need our buyer representation because now we're working with a buyer. Okay. And we're going to need our FinTrack. The identification record, right? And we need our confirmation of cooperation. Okay. So, oh, and we need our 801 as well, before I forget. Most offers are asking for that 801 nowadays. So our 801, we'll add it to the kit. So now I have my 5 thrown in my basket. I'm going to add and fully create this kit with everything I need in it. So we can see all our 5 forms are filled up there under the forms section. Okay. And let's go to, oh, you know, I forgot the most important one. There you go. The agreement of purchase and sale. I'm like, where is it? I forgot to throw it in there. So agreement of purchase and sale. Agreement of purchase and sale. There we go. So you guys see, I can, if I forget a form, I just hit the plus sign again. It brings me back into the screen where I can add another form. And this is great because even as the deal progresses, when you say this deal is accepted, you can come back into this kit even after you've authentisign and done everything to put your receipt of funds records in here, to put your waivers in here, and it'll still autofill everything from the kit. So it saves you so much time once you throw it into the kit, right? So agreement of purchase and sale, I'm going to click in and open it here. And because I created the kit from the MLS listing, see how everything's filled out already? Legal description, the address, the seller's name, right? The only parts that aren't filled out are the unknowns. So it doesn't know what your client's name is, what you're going to offer, all of that information. But other than that, everything is there, right? Okay. Is everybody good up to this point? Let me just stop the share for a second and check in on everybody. Everybody's good up to this point. This is pretty basic stuff before I get onto the Authentisign, right? Okay. We'll go back here. One other thing I just want to have you guys see before I go into actual Authentisign is how to add your clauses. So if you guys go to your Schedule A, okay, and you need to add a clause in here. Now, I have my own list of clauses that I usually use for freehold or condo, and I just sort of copy and paste them into my schedules because I have them written the way I like, and I know which ones I want to use. But if you guys are unsure, or if you're looking for a certain clause, you can just go into your schedule, and up here, the little box with the pencil in it is the clauses, and you can search for stuff like financing, for instance. Whoops. Okay, so right of inspection prior to completion, seller take back, postponement, survey, all of these things. This one, I don't know how survey has to do with financing, but you can go in and you can check and see your clauses here. And if you want to add it, you do it the same way you do with your forms. You just click on the circle. So say I want to add this clause and this clause. It adds 2 to the basket, and you click OK, and it puts your clauses right in your schedule for you. So you can look for a whole bunch of clauses in there, or even if it's a clause you're not used to writing, it's a good resource to go in there and see if they have a clause that might pertain to whatever specific thing you're dealing with, right? Okay. So that is how you create your kit to pull it into Authentisign. Now we're going to talk about how we actually get our client's signature on these documents without ever having to print or, physically see our clients, which is great these days with the whole COVID situation, right? But it also saves us a lot of time and energy. Like I was saying, prior to this, we would have to physically print our documents, get in our car, or get our clients to come into the office, and it would take a lot of time, right? But now we can go back and forth in an offer situation fairly quickly and without ever having to print, which is a big thing right now. Okay, so I'm just going to go and do a quick save here, because that's just my habit. Save, save, save. It's kind of like when you're in your Word document and Word shuts down on you, right? So save as a good rule. I'm going to go back up here where I toggle back in between my forms now, okay? So I click here and it shows me everything that's in my kit, okay? Now, not everything that's in my kit is something that I need signed by my clients. For instance, like the individual identification record, I don't need that signed by my clients, right? I only need the working with a realtor, the BRA, the confirmation of cooperation. Move this box out of my way here. The 801 and the agreement of purchase and sale, right? Those are the 5 documents I need for my clients to sign. So I've thrown all 5 documents into my kit now, and I'm going to go up here to the basket, and I'm going to click on the basket, and the basket gives me a bunch of options, right? Everybody asks me why there's 2 pens. I've never figured that out. One does the same thing as the other pen does. So just click on the first one or the second one, whatever you feel. I think it's perhaps a glitch they haven't caught up with, or if anybody knows why there are 2, I'd like to be enlightened, but it hasn't affected which one I use. I've tried using them both. Okay, so it's going to bring us to this screen. So before I go more into this kit, I want to stop for a minute, because if you just come into your Authentisign for the first time, I want you guys to do a couple things, okay? First of all, go into the settings, okay? And go to your preferences and make sure that your user information is correct, okay? So you want to make sure that you have all your proper information in here that you're normally using. Oh, I just realized I'm not logged in as myself. Here we go. So you want to make sure you have all your good information in here, your email address that you're using on the regular basis. If not, it's not going to work, because this is what Authentisign is using to authenticate you when you're signing your documents, okay? Another question I get asked very often, can the husband and wife use the same email address? No. In Authentisign, everybody needs their own individual email addresses for you to set up, because Authentisign uses that to authenticate the person when they open it in their email, right? So if you have a husband and wife or 2 people going on title, they both need their own email address to use Authentisign, okay? The second thing I want you to do is I want you to go to your contacts, and I want you to set up your contact in here. So it'll just save you so much time when you're going back and forth doing deals, because then you don't have to enter that email address every single time you're getting your client to do a sign back or you missed an initial, okay? And I'll show you why, because what we're going to go in and do is add our participants, okay? And there's a couple of ways you can add participants. So I'm going to go back to the kit that I created from our web forms kit, right? 45 Jeevens. Okay. And I go to my participants. So it automatically says first thing, details, 45 Jeevens Avenue. Sign in line or Simulsign. So the difference between these two is if I choose sign in line, that means I get to dictate the order in which everybody signs. Okay. And I like this option because I always make myself the last one to sign, because then I can review the documents and make sure there's no initials missing or signatures missing. You don't have to. You can choose Simulsign, say, you know, they both say they're at work and they're not sure who can get to their email first. It's sort of a first come, first serve, whoever signs on the document. But sign in line gives you that power to say, no, I want, you know, the wife to sign first, the husband to sign second, and I want to be the last one to review it. Okay. And I'll show you where to set that up here. You go to participants. Okay. Oh, this one is doing an auto add because we're going from the kit. So let me do that again. Participants. You can add a new participant. So this is where I was saying if you hadn't created a contact, you go and you have to add the information every single time. So if you don't do that one step before you come into your kit, and you'd have to go add new participant and fill out their name, Christine Boland, bolandrealtor@gmail.com. And say I had to do a sign back, you'd have to come in and add that information again. If you add them as a contact, you can go to add participants and go add from contacts, right? And then you can just add them here, right? So I'm gonna add hubby here and go, I'll add, I don't know, another one of our clients here, right? And go add. And then you can choose here whether to put their buyer or seller or co-op. I'm not going to do this because I don't want it to autofill right now for us. I want to show you guys how to pull the signatures and the initials on. So I'm just going to close the screen. Okay. I'll come back in if I have time and I'll do another kit and I'll show you how it autofills, because I want to caution you how it autofills too. Some of the pitfalls of it letting it autofill for you. But we're also going to come here and we're going to add me. Right. Okay. And I can choose what order it's in. So, you know, I want David to be first on this kit. I can just slide his name up there. Okay. And switch the order. But right now I have it. I'll go back to details here. Right now I have sign in line clicked, right? The participants have to sign in order. So Brady will not get this Authentisign request to sign it until David is finished signing. Okay, so it's David, then Brady, then myself. And like I say, I always put myself. I think it's a good idea if you guys put yourself last, because then you can review the document. Because very often, even though I'm used to doing it, I'll go, oops, I missed a signature or an initial or something, right? Then I come to my documents. And I'm like, okay, you know, I want the documents to make sense. So I put, you know, working with a realtor, the buyer representation. I want the offer next. So I can reorder my documents as well. I want the offer summary before the agreement and the confirmation of cooperation. Okay. Now I know that most people have a Schedule B for their office. That's not something that was auto-filled or came from my kit because I didn't create that. That's coming from the other office. I have to add that to my kit now. What you have to do is you have to go back to the listing, and let's hope this one, yep, there we go. See, it has a schedule. Okay. I'm just going to download the schedule here. I'm just going to throw it on my desktop and call it Jeevens, whoops, Schedule B. Okay. Throw it somewhere easy for you to find. Normally I'll put it in my folder that I have my clients in. I'm going to go back to my Authentisign kit and I'm going to go add document. And I want to upload a file. And I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to look for Jeevens Schedule B. And see, it's added it to my kit there. So I don't even have to do all my Authentisign and then go and have to still print and scan the Schedule B from their office. I can pull that document into my kit as well. Okay. I'm just going to order it here because I like the schedules after the agreement. And now we're going to go to the design part, which is the fun part. Is anybody completely lost up to this point? Let me know. I don't mind repeating and going back and doing a step. Or are you guys good up to this point? Okay, sounds good. So you guys are all with it this morning. Okay, so I'll go back to my kit. So now I'm in my Authentisign kit. Okay, the first thing I want you guys to be cautious of is when you're first using Authentisign, a lot of people get confused because this top right portion here, well, let me just highlight my mouse here. This top right portion here, you have to make sure it's the person that you're putting the signature down for. So when you click on it, it can click between the 3 people that are within your kit to sign. So David, Brady, and myself, right? So working with a realtor, right? I can come down here and I know I need David and Brady's signature. They're buyers and I need their initials here, okay? So you go to drag and drop has lots of options. They have the difference between the red and the green is the green gives them an option whether they want to click it or not. Your clients may miss it, and we all know that we need their signature on the form at the end of the day to submit whatever offer we're doing. So I find I've never had a reason to use the greens for real estate, but definitely the ones in red you want to use because that means your client can't proceed unless they actually click on that part, right? So if I just take the initial box, I make sure it's David up in the top right corner. I click on the initial and I hold it and I drag it down. I can make David put his initial there, okay? And let's do a signature. We'll pull it down here, okay? So you see the difference between the signature and the initial. And then I also want him to date it. So I'm gonna pull the date stamp down here, okay? Now I know I need Brady's signature. So I'm gonna go up to the top right, click on Brady, and I go pull the initial over to where I need it. And I pull the signature down to where I need it. And I pull the date down, okay? So I'm going to assume that normally I would fill out this form, but say I get to this point and I realize, uh-oh, I didn't fill out the brokerage name on here. I need to add it in. It allows you to type in the document as well. You just have to go to markup. You can click on the T here and you can draw yourself a text box. And now, even though I forgot the brokerage name, I can put in Remax Realty Inc. Brokerage. Okay. So there you go. I've had everything I need on this one except for the names on the top, which I could fill out as well. I could just pull another text box here and write their names out, right? But I want to show you guys a few more functions. So I'm just going to scroll down here and say I want to, I think I actually wrote any clauses in this Schedule A on this offer. So I'm just going to go to any one of these pre-printed clauses, which we're not normally allowed to ever nix out, but we're going to pretend we can today, okay? And say I want my client to pay special attention to something. I'm going to take it and I'm going to highlight this section for them. I really want them to read this clause. Make sure you read that there's no survey for the property, right? Or I'm going to cross out financing. We're going to pretend this is a financing clause. I'm going to take it and I'm going to cross out this financing clause for them, right? And then I want to take it and I want them to initial that I crossed out this clause. So I go back to Brady, I pull an initial here, go back to David, I pull his initial here, right? They've acknowledged now that I'm getting them to, that we've crossed out that financing clause. I like these little buttons because you can use them for AM and PM. So let me just see if I can find one here. It'll be on the offer summary document. Perfect. So I can take this and I can use it to highlight whether I want AM or PM, right? Then I can put my text box in and I want them to sign this document by 11:59 p.m. Okay. And then you can take this pen if you need for any reason, and you can draw with this one, whatever you need. You know, you guys get the idea. Whatever you need to mark up your document, okay? There's an X in here you can use as well. Sometimes I see people use that for AM, PM. But again, I would encourage you guys to use the red one so your clients don't miss it. So you go AM, PM, right? And we'll just put some more initials in here. I think I'm going to put some more in of mine because I want you guys to see what it looks like from the public side, because sometimes our clients get stuck in these documents and you have to be able to troubleshoot them. And I know the most common one is they don't complete signing of the document. So you definitely want to be able to walk them through that. So I'm just going to pull a couple of signatures and initials for me here randomly on the page, right? And I'm going to go back. I'm going to save. And I'm going to pretend like there's no longer David or Brady on this contract because I don't want to actually email it to them. Okay. So now I go back to my documents, right? Make sure everything's there. I go to design. Okay. And I'll just pull a couple more for me to go and initial and sign here so you guys can get an idea. It's good to know what it looks like on your client side for sure. Okay. Now I think I'm all done. I want to send this to my client. So all you do is click next and you click send invitations. Okay. So now it's sent everybody an email, okay? If you go back into your signing, so click on the pen again, and you go back into the signing, 45 Jeevens, you can see on the right-hand side that it's going to say authenticated and signed. So what does that mean? Okay. Authenticated means that your client has opened the email. So you know that they've received it, the email address is good, and they're reading over the document. Okay. It's also good when there's a list of people here because you can see who has read it and who has signed, and you sort of know where the document's stuck. So you could call your client and say, hey, David, Brady already signed this document. It should be in your email now, right? And you can follow how the document goes. So let me just go and open my email. Where am I here? Tuesday training. Okay. Let's see if I can open. Sometimes it goes to my phone first when I'm in the office. I'll just check and see here. Let you know, guys, know when it comes to my phone. Are you guys completely lost? Are you guys good up to this point? I'm just going to wait till this. Here it's come through now, finally. Forward it. Sometimes it's funny. It comes to my phone first before it comes to my computer screen. And then I'm like, have to forward it to my computer screen. So I just want to stop the share here and go into my email and open it up. Oh, I think I have to come back to you guys. Hang on. All right. So if I go to share my screen and I open it up here, you see it says your signature is requested. Okay. So your client will get this. So when you're walking them through it, when you're on the phone with them, you want to say, hey, you want to open up your email. You just have to click start signing. Okay. And I always tell my clients, like, you know, even if they're not tech savvy, this is super easy to do. I know a lot of them will say, oh, I don't know how to use any of this, but I've had even people who don't have an email address and have their children walking them through it be totally fine. So the first screen they come to is, hey, is this what you want your signature to look like? They'll either pre-choose a font for you, or you can choose to draw your signature, or you can select a different font. So that's totally up to your client and their preference, what they want it to look like. I'm fine with this. I'm just going to click accept. Okay. And at the top right, you can see there's a start. Okay. When you click start, it's going to take your client to the first signature that they need. So whether they're on their phone, they can click it with their finger, or, you know, click it with their mouse on their screen. All they have to do is click wherever you've put an initial or a signature for them. Okay. So I put an initial here, I click it. You see it moves on to the next one automatically. Click it again. And I'm going to click this clause that I crossed out, and this initial here, and this initial here. And this is the biggest point why I wanted to walk you guys through this part, because I get so many clients who think they're done and they're like, great, right? Or they click somewhere on their screen by accident and lose this. You have to click complete signing or it won't show up signed, okay? So I'm going to go over here back to my screen. I want to just show you guys what it looks like when I've opened it, okay? So if I refresh the screen now, there's now a flag here that says authenticated, which means my client has opened the document. So if they call you at this point and they say, hey, I'm all done, I'm all signed, you should have the document by now, and you're checking your email and you don't have that document back, 99% of the time it's because they haven't clicked that complete signing, right? So we're just going to go here and click complete signing now. Okay, I'll click complete signing. They always ask me, do I have to create a password and confirm password? No, this is only if they want an account in there where they can log into and get the documents. It'll automatically send them a copy of what they signed. Plus you can always send them documents as well. So they don't have to create, this is completely up to them. They don't have to create an account. So most of the time I just tell them, oh, click no thanks, right? We're gonna go back to our authenticator screen now. Okay, and if I refresh this one more time, I can see now that there's a flag under signed, okay? And there's a couple things that happen. They give me the final document, which is great, which is just, if you click on the final document, it's absolutely everything that they signed. So you can see it's the working with a realtor, the buyer rep, the offer summary document, the actual agreement, absolutely everything I got them to sign. But I don't need all those documents to send to the other agent. They don't need to see my BRA or my working with a realtor, right? So I'm going to scroll down even further and they separate all the documents that you loaded into your Authentisign, which is great. So I can just take the agreement of purchase and sale. I can go and I can view as PDF, download it on my computer, right? Agreement of purchase and sale, great, save. And then I can just take those individual documents and send them off to the listing agent, right? So it's a really, really great tool to never ever have to print, to separate the documents you need just for the office and that you need for to send off to your the other agent, the listing agents, for instance, if you're putting an offer in, right? Is everybody good up to this point? I want to do the kit one more way. I think I have enough time now just to show you the pitfalls of autofilling something. So just let me know if you guys are good or if I'm good to go ahead and create that kit, because I want to show you what it looks like when you autofill. Good? Excellent. Okay, so I'll go back to my share screen. Okay, and I'm going back to my web forms again. I'm just going to close some screens because I always have 15 screens open. Right? And I think I can use the kit that I created earlier, but I'm just going to create a duplicate one because I think the more you guys see it, the better it is that you have kits created. So you really get in the rhythm of it and it's kind of a no-brainer. And I encourage you guys to go create some fake kits today. Go in for any listing you see that's come up in your area and create either a listing agreement for it or an offer for it. And the practice is what gets you there, right? So I am going to go and I'm going to create a listing agreement, I think is the best one, because I think that one has a few points that I want to show about using the autofill. I just like to caution you guys, right? So of the things that I've noticed that happen. So I'm going to go to the house again, and I'm going to create a quick kit. Okay. So I go add. And it's going to be 123 Main Street, my favorite street. Create the kit. And I'm just going to go next, next, next on this one. I want to get to where I add the forms because I didn't pull this from an MLS listing, so it's not auto-filled anything for me. And I go here to create my kit on the right, add forms. and I'm going to put my listing agreement in. Actually, I think I'm going to put a mishmash of forms in that I kind of no mess up in Authentisign. So I'm going to put my listing agreement in. But I'm also going to put a confirmation of cooperation in. Just want to show you guys something real quick. Okay. And go add. So the autofill is great, but I like to show you guys both ways, creating from scratch and autofill. Both have their own things. Like when you create the kit from scratch, obviously you have to fill out everything yourself. I'm kind of hardcore where I like that because I have to manage all the things and then I don't miss anything. Autofill is great. A lot of people love the shortcut. I just want to show you why you want to be a little cautious of it. So I can go into the listing agreement here. And I'm not going to fill out anything because right now my focus is on Authentisign and what it's going to do when you autofill, right? So I'm going to go up here to my paper that shows all my transaction forms in my kit. And I'm going to click both of these, right? And I'm going to push it off to Authentisign. So you go to your basket, and then you're going to click on the pen. And here I am in my Authentisign, right? So I'm going to go to my participants, and I add for my contacts, right? And again, let's add Mr. Brady, and let's add David, and let's add Christine, right? So add. Okay, here is where it's going to ask me to map it out. So I'm going to say that Brady Boland is buyer 1, David is buyer 2, right? And the co-op salesperson is me. Okay, and I'm going to save it. I also want to keep my name at the bottom there, so I'm the last one to sign it because I like to review it. It's okay. Oh yeah, for sure. Go Joanna. It's documents. I'm going to make sure that everything's there. So I have my seller representation agreement for listing, and I have my confirmation of cooperation. Okay. I go to design. And now the difference is when I'm in design here, which it did not autofill. See, look at how glitchy it is there. Okay. Let's go back and try that again. It should have autofilled it. Let's go back. Good old Authentisign. Normally you come in here and it's autofilled these when you click the wizard. I'm not sure why it did. We'll try to do it again quickly to see if it glitches again. But my main point of coming through here before I create the kit again is we all know there's certain fields that you don't need filled out necessarily. So for instance, if you're getting your client here to sign for longer than 6 months, for instance, for a listing, this one here, you would get their initial, but you don't need that initial every single time. When you use autofill, it'll automatically fill that one out for you, okay? Again, on the confirmation of cooperation, if you scroll down, oh, see, okay, it did it on the confirmation. It filled out some, but it didn't fill out on the other listing agreement. I'm not sure why. So if you come here, you go down, you see it's gotten them to fill out the consent for multiple representation. Oh, I know why, because one's a buyer form and one's a seller form. That's why I was trying to throw a mishmash in. So I'd have to have put somebody as a seller as well. But this consent for multiple representation is not something you need every single time you do an offer because it's not always multiple representation. So if you come into your kit and you get it to autofill, you have to make sure you're aware of this because you need to go into this box and you need to physically delete this one, right? Because you don't want to send this along because it's not multiple representation. Okay, so be careful of those few boxes. There's a few forms that has these little pitfalls, like this one here where the buyer's initials are and under multiple representation. And like I've pointed out before on the listing agreement, if you're getting them to sign longer than 6 months. Those are the two that I've noticed are the most common when you're signing and you autofill that pops up, populates, and you don't need it there, right? All right, so who's lost and who wants me to repeat any part of that so far? Everybody good? Are any of you currently using Authentisign right now? None of you guys are using Authentisign now. You guys have, I think some of you haven't even created kits and stuff. If you guys are totally lost at this point, I encourage you, like I said, to go into the system, do a couple practice rounds, figure out how to create an offer or create a fake listing agreement and start filling out that paperwork for your clients and pretending that you're creating them so you can get the practice out of it. And if you guys get stuck, you can call me and I'll walk you through whatever part you're stuck on. Practice pushing it to Authentisign different ways, either directly from the MLS listing or from your kit. You can do it either way and play with it that way. And like I say, the great thing about the kits is that you can always go back into them. So let me just share my screen again here real quick. Oh, 1 second, wrong one. If you go into your kit and you realize that you need other things, even though I've already sent this to Authentisign, say my client signed it, I've already shipped it off, it never goes anywhere from your original kit, okay? So I can always go back to the house. And you see 123 main is there, okay? It's not the Authentisign version, but all the information I filled out is already there in that kit. So now, for instance, my offer has been accepted. I can just go back and go add forms. And I want to add my receipt of funds because now they've dropped off the deposit and I want to give that to Joanna, right? So you can see your receipt of funds. Click it here. It goes into your basket. And I also want to send my waiver because we just did our home inspection and everything looks good. So I'm going to send my waiver along. Oops. There we go. Okay, so you can go back and you can add that to your kit. So it's really good if you keep those kits all together because you can really use them. It saves you a lot of time instead of you having to go and do an amendment. I have to do an amendment. Oh my God, I have to fill out the whole thing. What's the date of the agreement of purchase and sale? Let me go back and look in my file and my email. You don't have to do that because if you add it, it's gonna take all the information from your other forms. So let me just add an amendment for the fun of it. Okay. If my original listing agreement said, you know, it's commencing on the first day and it's ending on the 31st, right? I go when I save, I can go back into my kit and it should autofill. Oh, this is an agreement for a purchase and sale, so it might not do it. I might have to do an amendment for a listing agreement, but we'll see what it does. Yeah, exactly. So I'd have to go and add, let's add an offer to this. That'd probably be easier. So I go back in here. All right, go back to your kit here at the beginning. 123 main. We're going to add an offer to this. Agreement of purchase and sale. Okay, and add. So now if I put my agreement of purchase and sale and it was dated, for instance, say it was dated the 29th of April, okay, I'll go and I'll save that. Later on, I need to do an amendment on this agreement. I don't have to look up all the details because then when I go over to my amendment of agreement and purchase and sale, it's going to tell me it's for the offer that was dated the 29th of April. You see here? It's also going to bring up all the other information. It saves you a lot of time. You don't have to go back and look and say, oh, what was the spelling of the seller's name and, you know, my buyer's name and what date was the offer done and everything. And you can just go in and complete the part of the amendment that you need. So it's a super big time saver. You never have to have the printed version in front of you. It's an excellent way to save the environment. It's a great way to save time. It's a good way to be a completely paperless agent. And it's just a really good tool to use now for COVID when people don't want to necessarily come to your office or meet you in person, right? It helps you, your deals moving, it helps keep them moving, especially at a faster pace. So is everybody clear with everything so far that I've covered today? you guys have to have some good stories for me this week. It's a short week. You guys need to work hard. Thursday, I have a couple of guest speakers I've been trying to line up, people that I've had in before that I think are some good, have some good knowledge for you guys, some good stuff to share. So Anne Brill will be coming from Centum for Thursday evening session. So it won't be me, it'll be her on Thursday evening. I think she's going to talk about funding for investment properties. And I have a couple of others lined up from RBC and stuff like that coming. So a few exciting things happening. But definitely tune in on Thursday evening. It'll be at 6:30 to 7:30. If you have any clients that are looking to invest, hopefully she'll be a good resource for you guys, or she'll have some good stuff to tell you that will help you and your clients in the future. And yeah, if you guys need anything during the week, you let me know. I'm always available. If you guys are practicing on your Authentisign, or you're creating your kits, or you're in the middle of doing an offer and you get stuck, call me or text me anytime. I'm pretty good at troubleshooting over the phone. If you want to come in, have some like one-on-one timed practice, please come in. I always welcome you guys to come in and get a little extra training. The faster we can do our deals, the more money we make, the more deals we do, right? So please use me as a resource and come on in, and I don't mind helping you guys with anything. Are you guys good? Like I say, there's more stuff you can do in there for sure. Sorry, you were going to say?
Thank you very much, and really a good one. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Like I say, just go in there and practice. It's the best way to do it. And then, are you guys using Authentisign on a regular basis? Have you tried it?
Yes, I'm doing it because I can remember 15 years back, and now this COVID, I don't need to run,
Yeah.
And my memory, when husband is working in Scarborough, other one in Vaughan, I have to run here and there.
That's what I'm saying, right? Yeah, saving so much time for us. It's great. You know what I mean? It's absolutely
great. Wonderful. It's really wonderful.
Yeah. Like I even say prior to COVID, it's not just a good tool during COVID. Prior to COVID, it was good, saving time. So it's definitely something you guys want to practice and brush up on and get really good at. So
thank you very much for your thing. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Thank you, everyone. Nice seeing you again this morning, and I'll see you guys on Thursday evening. Have a good week, everyone.